Good evening and welcome to the news roundup for Monday the 6th of November. Before we get into the news, please remember to like this video, share your views in the comments, and share the video with your family and friends. This video is brought to you by the Step With Ja merchandise collection. Now for the news in detail. There was a double murder on Princess Street in downtown Kingston early on Monday afternoon. The deceased has reportedly been identified only by their aliases Grabberman and Killy. They were shot and killed shortly after midday. The killings resulted in several businesses in the area being affected as the crime scene detectives probe the development. More information will be provided in subsequent newscasts. One AK-47 assault rifle was among 2 firearms and several rounds of ammunition seized by the security forces during a targeted operation in Salt Spring, St. James on Saturday. One man was taken into custody in connection with the seizure. The police say a manhunt has been launched to apprehend the other gunmen. Reports are that about 4 p.m., the joint forces acting on intelligence conducted a raid in Scott's Yard in Salt Spring. While conducting checks, the security forces were engaged by gunmen and they returned the fire. When the gunfire subsided, the police say checks were made and an AK-47 assault rifle, a Glock 19 pistol, and several assorted rounds of ammunition were seized. Meanwhile, detectives from the Counter-Terrorism and Organized Crime Investigation Branch CTOC successfully intercepted a group of men engaged in an illicit firearm transaction in Papine, St. Andrew today. Reports are that shortly before 11 a.m., the police interrupted the illicit transaction of an M16 carbine assault rifle. The operation's swift execution led to the arrest of 4 individuals. 2 vehicles were also seized. Police investigating the murder of 9-year-old Gabriel King say they expect to make progress after his mother handed over the code needed to unlock her cellular phone. Amoy and Issa, his mother, had previously refused to cooperate with the police in the matter, but she was eventually ordered by the Constitutional Court to provide a code to the investigators. Assistant Commissioner of Police Clifford Chambers on Friday said that information from the device is now being examined by investigators, and that is giving them cause for optimism. Our investigators are now processing data from the gadget, he confirmed, adding that while it is early days yet, we are comfortable that the manifestation of the investigation will yield some results. A Jamaican man living in Canada has been charged with the murder of his ex-girlfriend just days before her birthday. 33-year-old Troy Moulton is believed to have killed Latanya Anderson on Saturday in a jealous rage. Anderson, who is also a native of Jamaica, would have celebrated her 35th birthday on Wednesday. According to the police, approximately 9 p.m. on Saturday, Moulton arrived at the station to report an incident. The conversation prompted cops to visit his home, where Anderson was found not breathing. Life-saving measures were performed, but Anderson was pronounced dead at the scene. Cops did not reveal how Anderson had been armed. However, Moulton was subsequently charged with second-degree murder. In posts to his social media accounts, Moulton purportedly accused Anderson of cheating on him and kicking him out of the home where he had resided with the now deceased and her mother. To see how Latanya running me and tell me to move out. I could not believe I would live to see her treat me like that, the post stated. I am her husband and I am in the house with her, and to see Latanya making plans with her next man for her birthday. It is killing me inside, and I was acting mad because of her going out with her next man and provoking me about it, the post continued, adding, I am sorry for killing her. I love her and I can't imagine her with her next man. The post went on to state, it wasn't easy to walk away, plus I have nowhere to go and I tried to find a room to live, but it did not work out, and I have to stay in that devil house and take all the stress and headache. For the past 3 weeks, I don't eat, I don't sleep. I was going crazy. I'm sorry, not even Jesus could help me to walk away, the post continued. A source said both Moulton and Anderson grew up in the same community in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, and then they later migrated to Canada. Anderson leaves behind a 12-year-old son. A man suspected to be involved in several murders in Clarendon was killed Sunday on Church Street in Lioneltown. The deceased is 34-year-old Kevin Mitchell, otherwise called Coogan, a shop owner of Church Street. It is reported that about 7:25 p.m., Mitchell was making an illegal connection to a Jamaica Public Service Company post when he was attacked by men who fired several shots, hitting him in the upper body and head. Mitchell was pronounced dead at the hospital. The police say he was a suspect in the murders of 2 women in Alley in 2018 and a man in Lioneltown in 2020. He was also said to be affiliated with a gang operating out of Clarendon. A 82-year-old Clarendon man was trapped to death at his home in Top Halsall on Sunday. He has been identified as Eustace Ricketts, a farmer on First Street in Top Halsall. It is reported that sometime after midnight, Ricketts returned home and retired to bed, but was heard crying for help and shouting "thief" around 3 a.m. Relatives with whom he lived went to his assistance and realized culprits had reportedly gained entry to his room and inflicted several chop wounds to his body. The police were summoned, and on arrival, Ricketts' body was seen on the floor with several chop wounds. His head was partially severed. He was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. More from Superintendent Carlos Russell, who is the head of the Clarendon Police.
They're saying that they did not see the attacker. The investigation is still in its early stages. The motive, we are not sure yet, but we are working on that. But one of the things that we know is that, well, this one is considered a very miserable person. And I know that he was in some form of conflict with family members as it relates to property and so forth. But the investigation is still in its early stages.
The National Environmental Planning Agency, NEPA, is theorizing that the recently reported fish kill in Harborview, East Kingston, was caused by a low oxygen supply after days of heavy rains. Anthony Mackenzie, Director for Environmental Management and Conservation at NEPA, provided the update this morning. We are postulating that because of the rain, it caused the area to be anoxic and contributed to the fish kill. It is a little early, but that is our postulation so far. But we are taking it from all angles. Under anoxic conditions, the water column is depleted in oxygen levels. So marine life and fish thrive at certain oxygen levels within the water column. And when that condition is no longer, then it can result in the fish kill, he explained. He said NEPA is also probing whether a chemical spill is behind the incident. Mackenzie said NEPA has been working alongside the Jamaica Defence Force on the ground. He added that the results of the investigation should be finalized by Tuesday. It is reported that the fish kill has stretched for several miles along the airport road and is reportedly threatening the livelihood of fishers who ply their trade in the vicinity of the dry dock. A 6-year-old St. Jude's Primary School girl is among 3 people who were murdered along Delano Avenue along Agley Park Road in Kingston on Friday night. According to the police, the child, who has been identified as Ariana Salmon, was among a group of people standing along the roadway when a motor car approached them. An occupant of the vehicle reportedly pointed a firearm at them, opened fire hitting them, and then escaped in the area. When the shooting subsided, 4 people were seen suffering from gunshot wounds and were assisted to the hospital. Ariana, 42-year-old Marie Salmon, both of Howard Avenue in Kingston, along with 34-year-old Michael Smith, succumbed to their injuries. The 4th person was treated. A motive was not yet immediately clear for the killing. A man was fatally shot by an off-duty policeman during a dispute at a nightclub in Falmouth, Trelawney on Saturday. The deceased is 25-year-old Adju Hall of Scarlett Hall in the parish. Reports are that about 5:10 a.m., Hall was among patrons standing outside the nightclub on Harbour Street in Falmouth when an altercation developed between him and another man. The off-duty policeman reportedly intervened to defuse the situation when Hall allegedly punched him in the face repeatedly. The officer then pulled his licensed firearm and shot Hall. He was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. The Independent Commission of Investigations Indicom is probing the development. In business, Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark has defended the government's decision to remove the General Consumption Tax (GCT) from the importation of horses into Jamaica. The decision has come in for criticism from opposition spokesman on commerce, Dr. Andre Horton, who characterized it as defending the interests of wealthy individuals. But Clark says the decision was taken to protect the multi-billion-dollar betting and gaming sector.
40% of the mares and fillies in Jamaica cannot breed. They're either barren or they cannot breed for other reasons. Now, that industry is a part of the gambling industry that gives $8 billion to the Jamaican purse, to the consolidated fund. Horse racing is a part of that. And in order to protect the revenues to the country, we have to make sure that that industry can continue. And it certainly cannot continue if 40% of what we have here cannot reproduce. And the problem is nobody was bringing things in for the reproduction locally.
Clark has also defended the decision to remove taxes from the importation of cows and goats. He says that the move has ensured continued food stability in the country. According to the finance minister, removing GCT from the importation of horses ensured the viability of thousands of jobs in the betting sector.
The idea is to try to do something that people will say, all right, let me get off with cheer and see if we go import some now. Because it's a dangerous situation where 40% of what we have here in terms of horses cannot reproduce. For a sector that employs thousands of persons, either as groomsmen, as jockeys, as trainers, as the people who feed, and an industry that generates, as a part of the gambling industry, which is $8 billion, the horse racing industry, hundreds of millions of dollars for the government of Jamaica. So what are we doing? We give up $6 million across horses, pigs, and goats to make sure that the future of the country is secure.
And that is it for your news roundup for today. We would appreciate you liking this video, leaving a comment, and sharing the video with your family and friends. Have a good evening and see you next time. This video was brought to you by the limited edition Step With Your Merch collection. Get yours while stocks last. Links are in the description below.